I'm going to be attempting to powder coat for the first time. I just got this oven for free on Craigslist. So I got a quote originally. I'm building this Pw50 and I wanted to powder coat the wheels, the frame, and the springs. So I got a quote for $400. I want to do like a two-tone or two-stage paint, which is a chrome base, and then I want to do a blue on the top that's translucent. So here are the wheels. Just for this guy, kind of tool. So I want to do the wheels, which I'm going to start with probably. Then I have the frame, which I don't think I could fit it in the oven, so I might have to bring this to someone to do. But these are all sandblasted. I sandblasted these parts. And then we have the springs. I took the springs out of the shocks. So I'm going to be trying with these two. Maybe I should start with these. But so I'm going to do like an anodized blue. It's a chrome base, and then a translucent blue on the top. So don't do that, please. Okay, so well, that doesn't go in there. So the first thing on the wheels, I'm gonna get the high heat tape. I'm gonna tape off where the drum brakes touch against here, because we obviously don't want any paint where the pads are gonna be touching. Obviously, where these splines will be going in this wheel, we don't want any powder coat in there. The tape come out pretty thick. And this is just the front wheel, so we have to tape off where the drum goes and where the outer races of the bearings will seat. So we got to tape that stuff off. I'm going to clean it with alcohol. The springs are pretty much just ready to go the way they are. They're all sandblasted, as well as the frame. Alright, so I'm turning the oven on, and I'm going to wipe these parts down with some acetone, and then I'll throw them in the oven. And I'll put them in at 450 just to kind of bake out any oils that might be trapped in the metals. So this will be like a final cleaning process just to make sure that there's no oil or contaminants on any of the surfaces. This way they'll last a long time, and the paint will stick or adhere properly. So just giving them one last final wipe down before they go in there, and then I'm gonna bake these things in there at 450 degrees. I'll let them sit for maybe 15 minutes, and then we'll in the meantime we'll get ready to get started with the paint. Okay, so I have my parts. I have them hung up. They're all clean, ready to go. I have them hung up on my oven tray. Here's the powder. This is Super Chrome from Prismatic Powders. So what I'm going to do is, I got my gun. This is an Eastwood dual voltage powder coating gun. So it's got this canister here. This is where you put the powder. Once you put the powder in, connect it to the gun. You hook the gun up to your air supply. We have a regulator over here, which you set from between 8 and 10 psi. Once you spray it, you have this button. You hold this down while you're spraying. You hook up your ground wire, which is here. You hook your ground wire up to the part in a space where you're not going to see the clip marks. And that will send the electricity to the part that you're doing. While you're holding this button down, you spray the powder. As it comes through here, it goes through this rod, which gives it a charge to stick to the part. So you put the powder in, you spray it while holding this button down. It'll stick to the part. Once that's done, take the parts and put them in the oven. Okay, now once the part reaches 450 degrees, you're going to start your timer for 10 minutes and set it in the oven. Well, whatever. Well, that's weird. All right, this gun is really so accurate. I got it from Amazon. You see all the numbers jumping around? I'll just say it's at 450. I'll leave the link in the description to this beautiful gun that just gives you random numbers. All right, so now we're gonna wait for these parts to get down to 150 degrees before we spray them with the top coat of blue. So we have our infrared thermometer and we're just gonna keep doing little tests on them until they get down to that right temperature. And that's where we'll spray them again. These need to be hot for the paint to stick, or the powder to stick to this next coat, because there's already a coat of paint on there. So the powder's not gonna stick magnetically, I guess, because there's already that layer of paint. So we use the heat to let it stick. Okay, now we're gonna put these parts in and we're gonna bake them. Once they reach 450, we're gonna bake these at actually 12 minutes. All right, they look pretty good so far. I'm gonna take these out and bring them into the light and really check them out and see how this color came out. Looks pretty dark, but we'll see when they cool down if it changes color at all. All right, so in the light, these parts actually look really good. They have a good shine, still translucent, nice and dark like I wanted. So I'm pretty happy with how they came out, and now I'm gonna get into doing those wheels. So here we're just, we got the chrome base on there, just about cooked. Now we sprayed the blue. I'm gonna put these in here, 12 minutes once they reach 450. And that should be it for these wheels. The frame doesn't fit in here, so I had that dropped off at a local powder coater. I also gave them the powder and a test part to show them how dark I went so they match. And these wheels look good. They look just like the springs came out, so I'm pretty happy with the color, happy with how dark they are, and I'm finally getting close to finished. All right, so everything is done, finally. The wheels I actually had to strip and redo. I don't know what happened, but I put them in for the color coat. I put them in the oven, and then I saw that I missed a couple spots, or I wanted it darker, so I took them out, resprayed it, and put it back in. And then I guess from doing that, I kind of overcooked it. So it started to wrinkle. It was a pretty even wrinkle, but, and then I went to go sandblast the wheels. It took forever to get it off. So what I did was actually just put it back in the oven and put the oven on clean. And it actually just turned the powder to ash, which was pretty cool. I was able to strip it a lot faster that way. But the second time I did the wheels, I got on the base coat these little dots. I don't know what it was from, but those little black dots showed up. I said, you know what, who cares? I went over it, they look fine. The springs came out good. They're pretty dark. I went as dark as I can, just because I wanted to match like the Yamaha blue. So, and the frame came out really good as well. The frame I actually had to bring to someone to do. I gave them the powder. Looks like they did a really good job. No spots like my stuff. Looks kind of like the springs. They went dark on it as well, which is good, so it kind of matches pretty well. So yeah, it's a shame I couldn't fit it in my oven, even though I probably would have messed it up. But so anyway, pretty happy with how these parts look, and put some new tires on these wheels, and finally ready to start building this Pw50. So for the first time powder coating on those springs, I'm pretty happy with that. The wheels were a bit tough, but I'm happy with how they came out. The VIN also shows through pretty good on here. I think just because it's a translucent color. Yeah, you could still read it. Again, I think it's just because it's a translucent color. If you feel over it, it's actually really smooth. So if it was like a solid pigment, you probably wouldn't be able to read it. But yeah, that's it. Taped off the spots that I didn't want to get tape on. There's still tape here. This is where some of the electronics mount up, so this needs to be grounded. And that's really it. Things ready to go. Stay tuned for the build. I'll get to it soon. Just got to rebuild the motor and then start putting this thing together. Thanks for watching.